Hello and welcome to this video on how to approach discussion essay questions effectively in IELTS Writing Task 2. In this video, I'll explain what discussion essay questions are, how to analyze them, how to come up with answers, and how to write them. At the end of this video, you should write an essay on the topic that your teacher will provide, and then you can get feedback on your writing. We will also look at an essay written by a student and give feedback on it so that you can see what areas you need to focus on more. After writing a couple of essays and getting feedback on them, you'll be able to confidently and skillfully answer any discussion essay question. Like the other IELTS Writing Task 2 question types, when answering a discussion essay question, the hardest part is coming up with good ideas. Let's look at an example. Some people think children should have the freedom to make mistakes, while other people believe that adults should prevent children from making mistakes. Discuss both these views and give your own opinion. Now, as you can see, there is a statement in the question, like always, which presents two opposing views. What you're supposed to do is discuss both of these opinions and then say what you think and why. In this video, we'll cover how to answer discussion questions, how to write your answer, and how to avoid making mistakes. If you follow these steps, you'll be able to write a good answer that fully and effectively answers the question. I should remind you that we have already covered how to develop ideas, as well as how to create coherence and cohesion in writing in the previous units. So if you need help with those, please go to our channel and watch the previous videos of Stage 3. And to make sure you have access to our future videos, please subscribe to our channel on YouTube, www.youtube.com/Respina-talk. Okay, as I said before, the first thing you need to do is analyze the question. Let's first see some examples of discussion essay questions so that you be more familiar with them. Some people prefer to spend their lives doing the same things and avoiding change. Others, however, think that change is always a good thing. Discuss both these views and give your own opinion. Some people feel that cities should allow for spaces for graffiti, while others feel it should be banned. Discuss both sides and give your own opinion. And as the number of cars increases, more money has to be spent on road systems. Some people think the government should pay for this. Others, however, think that drivers should cover the costs. Discuss both views and give your opinion. In all these cases, there are always two opinions which are rather conflicting. You need to think of reasons why each opinion might be right. Then you should explain your own opinion and justify it. Remember, you have to discuss both sides of the argument, and you need to clearly state your own opinion. Otherwise, you will lose marks in task response. Okay, let me first show you how your whole essay will look. To answer discussion essay questions, there are various layouts you can choose. You can write a 5-paragraph essay. In this case, you can either write 2 body paragraphs, each including a main point about the view you do agree with, and each indicating your own opinion directly, and then 1 body paragraph including a main point about the view you don't agree with, as well as your own opinion clearly stating why you disagree with it. Or you can write a body paragraph about the opposing view, another body paragraph about the view you agree with, and a 3rd body paragraph about your own opinion. You can also write a 4-paragraph essay. If you choose to write a 4-paragraph essay, write 1 body paragraph about the view you don't agree with, and 1 body paragraph about the view you agree with. But remember, since your opinion should be clear throughout the essay, you need to include your opinion in both body paragraphs. This is the plan as a whole. You have to start with the introduction, of course. In the introduction, you need to show the examiner that you know what the question is by paraphrasing the statement in the prompt. In this case, the statement in the prompt introduces the two opposing views. Then you need a thesis statement, which should answer the question and the topic. The question here is, discuss both views and give your own opinion. Now, since you've already presented the two views by paraphrasing the statement and the topic, all you have to do now is introduce your own opinion and the thesis statement. Finally, you need to tell the examiner how you're going to answer the question, which means you need to mention the main points of your essay. The main points in this type of essay question are your reasoning for agreeing or disagreeing with the views presented in the topic. After the introduction, you need to write your body paragraphs. As I said, you can write 2 or 3 body paragraphs. Either way, remember that each body paragraph must have a topic sentence which clearly tells the reader what that paragraph will be about and also relates to the thesis statement. Then you should add some explanations and examples to back up the main idea or the topic sentence. If you can't think of a good example, remember that you can always add more explanation as to why the topic sentence is true. Generally, it doesn't matter which side of the argument you deal with first. As long as your writing is coherent, which means it answers the topic question in an organized and easy to understand manner, and your opinion is clear throughout the essay, any order you choose to discuss the views and any number of paragraphs you decide to write has to make sense and be logical. I have decided to write a 4-paragraph essay, and in the outline that I'm presenting, I will start the body with the view I do not agree with and why. And I will say why this view is held by some people, plus why I disagree with them. Then I will need an example to support my explanation. Then I will have to write my second body paragraph, which will be about the second view presented in the topic, the one I do agree with. Again, I will also have to say why I agree with this view and why this view is held by some people. Then I will need an example to support my explanation. And finally, you will have to write the concluding paragraph. The concluding paragraph is basically a rephrased introduction. For the concluding paragraph, you just need to paraphrase the thesis statement and give a summary of the main points that you covered. In other words, you should present the two views in the topic, including your own opinion once more, and summarize your reasons for your opinion. Now that we know what we're going to do as a whole, let's figure out how we're going to answer the prompt question. To achieve a high score in IELTS Writing Task 2, it's critical to fully understand the prompt question. So before you begin writing your response, you must carefully read and analyze the question. In other words, you should make sure you understand what you're being asked to write about. Let's look at this prompt question. Some people think children should have the freedom to make mistakes, while other people believe that adults should prevent children from making mistakes. Discuss both these views and give your own opinion. To analyze this question, first you need to find the topic words. In this case, these are the topic words and the main statement of the question prompt. So basically, we're supposed to write about children making mistakes. In order to find out what aspect of children making mistakes we need to write about, you should look for the keywords in the question. Here are the keywords. Now we know that we should write about whether adults should let children make mistakes or prevent them from making mistakes. Now, you don't want to lose marks in task response by going off topic, so you need to know exactly what to include in your essay. So, find the instruction words. Here are the instruction words in this topic. This means that we should write about both of the views in the topic, letting children make mistakes and preventing children from making mistakes, and explain our own opinion. In general, for this type of IELTS essay question, you need to answer these three questions. Why do some people have the first view? Why do some people have the second view? And which view do you agree with and why? Now, in this case, the questions are, why do some people think children should be free to make mistakes? Why do some people think adults should prevent children from making mistakes? And 3, do you think children should be allowed to make mistakes, or should they be prevented from making mistakes, and why? I can't emphasize enough how important it is to have an outline. Making an outline before you start writing your essay can ensure that your ideas are organized logically, your body paragraphs have a clear main idea, and that the main ideas are well supported. In the introduction, we must include our opinion on the topic and the main points we want to discuss in the body paragraphs. My opinion is children should be free to make mistakes. Now I should think about the main points or the reasons why I think children should be free to make mistakes. To make outlining easier and also to save time, I'm going to start the outline with the body paragraphs. Once I have the main points in the body paragraphs, I can easily outline the introduction and the conclusion. In the first body paragraph, I'm going to write about the view that I don't agree with. This is my topic sentence. Opponents of allowing children to make mistakes believe that protecting them from errors is crucial for their safety and self-esteem. I'll have to introduce this view and the reason behind it in my topic sentence. Then I should add an explanation to show how protecting children from making mistakes is good for their safety and their self-esteem. My explanation includes, it can prevent negative consequences, and it can help children feel more confident in their abilities. And I need an example to support my explanation. So I'm going to write, if parents help their child with a school project, they can guarantee its success and enhance their child's sense of accomplishment. Now, a very important point. I shouldn't forget to add my own opinion. So here's my opinion. I think excessive protection can make it harder for kids to develop essential life skills and resilience. Now, let's outline the second body paragraph. First, I need to write a topic sentence about the second view, the one I agree with, and normally I should start this paragraph with the supporter's view. However, since I'm going to end the previous paragraph with my own opinion, for a better flow, I'm going to start this one with my own view as well. This is my topic sentence. In my view, giving children the freedom to make mistakes is vital for their overall development. Then I need to back it up with an explanation as well as an example. Since I'm supposed to discuss both sides of the argument, only presenting my opinion won't do. I need to directly mention the supporter's view too. So for the explanation of the topic sentence and to directly mention the view of the other side, I can say, supporters of this perspective also emphasize that allowing children to face challenges and learn from their mistakes equips them with problem-solving skills and the ability to cope with setbacks. It can help children build resilience and adaptability. This is what I mean by directly mentioning the view. After the explanation, as usual, we need an example. So here it is. If children make a mistake when assembling a toy, they will become more attentive the next time. All right, now that we have the outline of the body paragraphs, we can write the introduction and the conclusion. In the introduction, I first need to paraphrase the statement and the topic. This should be easy if you have the topic in front of you. So, to paraphrase this statement, I can say, while some people are of the opinion that children should be free to make mistakes, others argue that adults should prevent children from making errors. Then I need to write a thesis statement. I agree with the first group, so that will be my side in this argument. I should also tell the examiner how I am going to develop my response. As I said in the previous videos, it sometimes makes more sense if you mention your opinion plus your main points in one sentence. That's what I am going to do here. I'm going to include both my own opinion and my reason in one sentence. What is my reason? Well, I have already decided that in body paragraph 2, where I said, in my view, giving children the freedom to make mistakes is vital for their overall development. So, since development is my reason, I'm going to write my thesis like this. In this essay, I will present both viewpoints and explain why, in my opinion, allowing children to make mistakes is essential for their growth and development. As you can see, I have clearly mentioned my opinion and the reasons for my opinion being growth and development. So, growth and development are my main points that I'm going to discuss in the body. And finally, to write the conclusion, I should rephrase my thesis statement and provide a summary of the main points in the conclusion. This is the thesis statement rephrased. While protecting children from mistakes may offer a few benefits, I believe that granting them the freedom to make mistakes is absolutely crucial for their growth and development. And this is a summary of the main points or my reasons for my opinion. By providing a supportive environment where children can learn from their experiences, including their mistakes, we can better prepare them to face the challenges of the future with confidence and resilience. All right, our outline is complete now. All I have to do now is put these ideas together and make sure they're arranged logically. Let's start with the introduction. This is a paraphrase of the two views in the topic, and here's my opinion plus my reason. So the introduction is complete. My first body paragraph will look like this. I have the topic sentence, I have the explanation for the topic sentence, and I have an example to support the topic sentence. I also need to make sure my opinion is clearly included throughout the text. so I need to include my opinion as well at the end of this paragraph. This could be a very good transition for the next paragraph because I will start my next paragraph with my opinion as well, and this would create a nice flow. And this will be my second body paragraph. As I said, I will start this paragraph with my own view to get a better flow of sentences from the previous paragraph. I also have to make sure that I mention the supporter's view as well. So in the explanation sentence, I'm going to clearly say, supporters of this view also emphasize blah, blah, blah. After the explanation, I need an example to make the explanation more clear. So I say, when a child makes a mistake while assembling a toy, they become more attentive and cautious in the future attempts. After writing the example, I feel like I can add a further explanation saying how becoming cautious can help them. And this is also to build a stronger reasoning. So I say, moreover, learning through experience can help children build resilience and adaptability, which are important skills in a world that is always changing. Now that I have good reasoning, I just need to clearly show my position and that I agree with this group. So I say, I agree with these supporters because I believe that embracing mistakes as learning opportunities makes people more well-rounded. So all in all, I have clearly mentioned my viewpoint, I have clearly mentioned the opposing viewpoint, and I have clearly said that I agree with the opposing viewpoint. Finally, for the conclusion, I need to paraphrase the introduction, so I'll have a paraphrase of the two views. Notice that I have added I believe that to show my own opinion. Then I'll wrap it up with a summary of the main points. That's it. Our essay is complete. Please pause your video, read the complete essay, and then play your video again. When answering discussion essay questions, it's absolutely necessary to give your own opinion because they ask you in the prompt to specifically give your opinion. However, you don't have to necessarily agree with only one side of the argument. Depending on the topic, you might at times want to partially agree with either side of the argument. In that case, the outline of your essay could look like this. The introduction and the conclusion would stay the same. In body paragraph 1, rather, you could mention the view of both sides, and in body paragraph 2, you can give your own opinion and explain why you agree or disagree with the other side. Now, using the same ideas from the previous essay, I'm going to write another essay, this time pointing out that both approaches are necessary. Let's start with the introduction. Since I want to say that I agree with both views, I would need a different thesis statement. As you can see here, my opinion or thesis statement in this essay is that there should be a balance. In my first body paragraph, just like what you see in this outline, I'll need to discuss both of the views in the topic. Therefore, my topic sentence should also introduce both of these views. To do this, you can start the paragraph with one side of the argument and provide an explanation and example for it. Then you can continue with the other side of the argument and add an explanation and an example for it. Now, look at the first body paragraph. The first half of the paragraph discusses the first view, while the second half discusses the second view. Notice the use of cohesive devices to create cohesion in this paragraph. Then I need to present my own view in the second body paragraph, so this will be my topic sentence. In my view, finding the right balance between these approaches is essential. Here, I'm going to explain why I think a combination of both approaches is necessary, and then give an example. Finally, I should rephrase the introduction and summarize the main points in my conclusion. And just like that, we have written another essay about the same topic. So please pause your video and read this essay. You can play your video back again after you're done. I need to point out that there are some typical mistakes to avoid when writing discussion essays. Some students confuse discussion essays with opinion essays. In opinion essays, you just simply need to agree or disagree with an idea. This is what opinion essay questions may look like. What is your opinion? Do you agree or disagree? To what extent do you agree or disagree? The question we are faced with, however, is to say why children should and shouldn't have freedom and what we think about this. So if you make this mistake and write your thesis statement like this, I agree that children should have the freedom to make mistakes, you will lose marks in task response because you've only covered one side of the argument. So one thing to watch out for is to make sure you answer all sides of the topic. Other students, on the other hand, might mistakenly write about the advantages and disadvantages of the views in the topic. This is how advantages and disadvantages essay questions usually look like. Do the advantages of this outweigh the disadvantages? Or discuss the advantages and disadvantages of this. Again, if you write a thesis statement like both letting children make mistakes and preventing them from making errors have some advantages and disadvantages, you will lose marks again in task response because first, the question is not about advantages and disadvantages, and second, thesis statement does not indicate your view on the topic. So remember that discussion essay questions normally have wordings like discuss both these views and then give your own opinion, or discuss both sides of this argument and give your opinion, which means you have to explain both sides of the argument as well as your own opinion. Another mistake some students make is not discussing both sides of the argument or not giving their own opinion and lose marks as a result. Also, some students may fail to remain on topic and end up debating unrelated topics. This is normally because they don't take the planning stage seriously and don't make an outline before they start writing their essay. To avoid making these mistakes, you should always carefully read the topic and understand it, plan your response, be sure to address both sides of the argument, and include your own view in your response. To better understand the possible mistakes you might make when writing this type of essay, and to learn how to avoid such mistakes, let's take a look at an essay written by one of our students. Please pause the video, read this essay completely, and then play the video again. Regardless of the grammatical or lexical errors, To be able to improve the content of this writing, we need to figure out what the writer's main points are. Here's the outline of the essay you just read. In the introduction, the writer first paraphrases the statement in the prompt. First of all, this is not a good paraphrase because the student has only changed one word in the topic. Remember, to paraphrase, you need to repeat the original statement in different words as long as nothing in the meaning changes. I will show you how I changed this paraphrase later in the lesson. Then, in the next two sentences, he points out that there are some benefits and drawbacks, and that he's going to discuss both sides and give his own view. The problem is, he fails to clearly present his opinion. From the sentence, this has clearly many benefits, but there are some drawbacks too, we cannot tell for sure if the writer believes it is better for children to begin learning a foreign language at primary school rather than secondary school or not. Therefore, I have changed the thesis statement so that the writer's view or the thesis statement is clear. I have added, although this approach may have drawbacks, I believe it has more benefits. Now the writer's opinion is clear. And as I said before, we need a better paraphrase, since the student has only changed one word in the topic. So the paraphrase could look like this. Some experts hold the view that children should start learning a second language at elementary school rather than high school. In the first body paragraph, the writer starts the paragraph with a topic sentence, which says, the brain is more receptive at primary school, so it's easier for students to learn a foreign language. And then adds another idea saying, if students learn a foreign language in primary school, they can learn it like their native language. Now, here is the first problem. Topic sentences should only be about one main idea. In this topic sentence, we have two ideas instead of one. Plus, they're not linked to the thesis statement. The first idea is a benefit of learning languages in primary school, plus an explanation for it. And then there is a second idea introduced about the possibility of learning a language like a native speaker. What I'm trying to say is that these sentences could be used as supporting sentences and not a topic sentence. Also, the writer's view is not clearly mentioned in this paragraph. So, I added a topic sentence to the beginning of the paragraph saying, I agree with experts who argue that learning a foreign language at primary school rather than secondary school is better for some reasons. Now, this topic sentence presents the main idea of the paragraph, the supporter's view, and my own opinion as the topic sentence. The next sentence, it will be comfortable for them in secondary school if they continually exercise about it, introduces another benefit and supports the topic sentence, so it's fine content-wise, though it needs revision. I changed it to this proficiency to improve cohesion because it wasn't quite clear what it referred to. To learn more about coherence and cohesion, watch the video of Stage 3, Unit 4. The next sentence, it is noticeable that some experts believe parents can start teaching the foreign language even before they go to school, is irrelevant. We're supposed to say whether it's better for children to learn a foreign language at primary school or secondary school, not before they go to school in kindergarten. So I removed it. The next sentence is an example. In the example, the writer says, "My younger brother learnt English from primary school. When he was 15, he could speak English like a Native American." This is not a very convincing example because it doesn't mean that it's true for all children. You should try to come up with examples that are convincing and can relate to many people. Saying something that is true about your brother doesn't necessarily mean that it could be true for everyone. So it would not be a very convincing reason, which is why I've added a better example. Secondary school students who have already learned a foreign language at primary school perform better on their foreign language tests than their classmates who haven't. Finally, in the last sentence of this paragraph, the writer gives another irrelevant idea by saying, "Eventually he chose to immigrate and moved to the USA." This doesn't support the topic sentence, because the fact that he decided to immigrate has nothing to do with when he began learning a foreign language, so it has to be omitted. In the second body paragraph, the topic sentence says there are some drawbacks with this statement. So we expect to hear what they are and why they are drawbacks. The second sentence explains how children may not like to learn anything more than their usual lessons. We could consider this idea a weak support of the topic sentence. In the third and final sentence of this paragraph, the writer mentions pressure as a drawback, but doesn't say why or how. Here, the student needed to say how being under pressure to learn a language at a young age could have negative effects. Also, we need to discuss both views. So by adding, "That is why some people believe that we should not put students under unnecessary pressure from childhood," I will clearly show the opposing view. Then I've added an explanation to back up this view. They will have plenty of time to learn foreign languages at secondary school. The second part of the sentence, "In many countries, children begin learning a foreign language since primary school," is simply a fact that doesn't relate to the main idea of the paragraph, which is the drawbacks of learning a foreign language at primary school. It also cannot be a good explanation or example for the idea that being under pressure has negative effects. But since I need to include my own opinion to clearly state that I don't agree with this view, I added, "I do not think this pressure is an issue." Then by adding a small detail at the end, "and the students do not seem to be having any problems with it," I made this sentence serve as a support to back up my claim. Remember that your opinion must be clear throughout the essay. In this essay, however, one body paragraph presents only the benefits and the other only the drawbacks, as if the writer didn't think it would make a difference whether children learn a foreign language at primary school or secondary school. While we know from the conclusion that the writer actually believes it's better to learn a foreign language at primary school. This is one of the common mistakes that I have pointed out before. This is not an advantages and disadvantages essay. You need to discuss both views and give your own opinion. And this opinion must be clearly and directly stated throughout your essay. This means all paragraphs. That's why I have added the writer's view to both body paragraphs. Okay, let's move on to the last paragraph. In the conclusion, the writer finally presents his own view, but fails to mention secondary school, which is one side of the argument. In other words, the writer doesn't mention both views in the conclusion. Therefore, I added compared to learning it at secondary school to the first sentence, so that both views are mentioned here. Another problem here is that the summary of the main points is missing. Instead, the writer introduces a new idea, which is the importance of knowing a foreign language for future improvement in life. You should never add a new idea in the conclusion. In addition, this sentence is irrelevant because it's only about knowing a foreign language, not about when it's better to learn it. So it has to be omitted. Instead, I added a summary of the main points. Although learning a foreign language in primary school may be a bit overwhelming for children, their brains are better at absorbing new information at that age. In addition, an early language acquisition can make it feel like their second native language and therefore would prove to be helpful later in high school. So studying foreign languages in primary school is more useful. Now let's look at the whole revised essay. Remember, when you write, you should only worry about content. That is, you just need to focus on answering the question. Don't forget to leave about 5 minutes at the end of the exam time for revision. Once you have finished writing, it's absolutely necessary to read your essay and try to improve its grammar and vocabulary. Regarding grammar, make sure there is a range of complex structures used. You may want to merge some simple sentences into a complex one or a compound complex one. As for vocabulary, replace repeated words with synonyms, if possible, but make sure the synonyms you use make sense in that context. So, writing a discussion essay may seem difficult at first, but you can write a well-structured response that meets all requirements of the task if you carefully analyze the prompt. Plan your response, keep on topic while answering both sides of the question equally, and clearly state your opinion throughout the text. And finally, spend about 5 minutes at the end to revise your writing. You may create a solid response that will give you a high mark on the IELTS Writing Task 2 if you follow these instructions. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more useful IELTS writing advice and tools. Thank you.